Marcus had no money left. His son Tyler didn't know they would lose their home soon. One night at the hospital, bad men attacked a nurse with a knife. Marcus jumped in front of the blade to save her. He didn't know hundreds of doctors would thank him tomorrow. Before watching full story, comment below from where you watching. Also like and subscribe for more stories. Marcus Thompson stared at the rejection letter in his hands, the fourth one this week. We regret to inform you that your application for financial assistance has been denied. The words blurred as tears filled his eyes. His 8-year-old son Tyler was sleeping in the next room, unaware that they might lose their small apartment by the end of the month. Marcus worked as a janitor at the city hospital, but his salary barely covered rent and food. Since his wife Lisa died from cancer 2 years ago, every day was a battle to keep their heads above water. The medical bills from Lisa's treatment had destroyed their savings and ruined his credit. Even with insurance, the costs had been overwhelming. Now Marcus was drowning in debt, working double shifts just to pay for Tyler's basic needs. "Daddy?" Tyler appeared in the doorway, rubbing his sleepy eyes. His dark hair stuck up in every direction, and he clutched his worn teddy bear. "Hey buddy. Bad dream?" Tyler shook his head and climbed onto Marcus's lap. "You look sad. Are you thinking about mommy?" Marcus's heart broke a little more. Tyler was too young to understand their money problems, but he felt his father's stress like a heavy cloud over their home. "Yeah, I miss her too." Marcus hugged his son tightly. "But we have each other, right?" "Forever and always," Tyler said, repeating the phrase Lisa used to say. Marcus tucked Tyler back into bed, then returned to the kitchen table covered with bills and overdue notices. He had applied for every assistance program, every loan, every charity he could find. Nothing worked. His pride had long since disappeared, replaced by desperate fear for his son's future. Tomorrow he had to work a double shift at the hospital. Mrs. Garcia from downstairs watched Tyler for free, but Marcus hated asking for help. The elderly woman had her own problems and couldn't keep doing this forever. As Marcus finally fell asleep on the couch, surrounded by unpaid bills, he whispered a prayer to Lisa. "I don't know how to do this alone. Help me be strong for Tyler." The next morning, Marcus dropped Tyler off at school and headed to work. The city hospital was always busy, but lately it seemed like chaos. The emergency room was packed, patients filled every hallway, and the staff looked exhausted. Marcus pushed his cleaning cart through the corridors, invisible to most people rushing past. Doctors, nurses, and patients moved around him like he wasn't there. After 2 years of working here, he was used to being overlooked. But there was one person who always noticed him, Elena Rodriguez, a nurse in the emergency department. She was young, maybe 26, with kind eyes and a smile that could light up the darkest room. Every morning she said hello, asked about Tyler, and treated Marcus like he mattered. "Morning, Marcus." Elena called as she hurried past with medical supplies. "How's Tyler doing with his reading?" "Getting better every day. Thanks for asking. Tell him I said hi." "And Marcus? Thank you for keeping everything so clean. It makes a real difference." That simple acknowledgement meant more to Marcus than Elena could know. In a world where he often felt invisible, she saw him as a person, not just the janitor. As the day wore on, Marcus noticed tension in the hospital. There had been budget cuts, staff layoffs, and longer hours for everyone. Nurses were handling more patients than ever, and tempers were running short. Around lunchtime, Marcus overheard an angry conversation near the nurses' station. "This is unacceptable," a man's voice shouted. "My mother has been waiting 3 hours." "Sir, I understand your frustration," Elena's calm voice replied. "We're doing everything we can. Your mother is stable and the doctor will see her soon." "Soon isn't good enough. I know people who run this hospital. I can have your job." Marcus glanced around the corner and saw a tall man in an expensive suit towering over Elena. His face was red with anger and other patients were starting to stare. "Sir, please lower your voice. There are sick people here who need rest. Don't tell me what to do. You're nothing but a nurse. I pay your salary with my taxes." Marcus felt his jaw clench. Elena was one of the hardest working people he knew. She stayed late to comfort scared patients, brought her own snacks for children in the emergency room, and never complained about the long hours or difficult conditions. The argument continued, but Marcus had to get back to work. He needed this job, and getting involved in conflicts wasn't part of his duties. That evening, as Marcus was finishing his shift, he saw Elena sitting alone in the break room. She looked tired and sad, her usual bright smile nowhere to be found. "Rough day?" Marcus asked gently. Elena looked up, surprised. "Oh, hi Marcus. Yeah, it's been challenging. Some days I wonder if I'm making any difference at all. You make a difference. Tyler still talks about when you gave him that coloring book during his checkup last month. You made a scary experience fun for him. That's sweet of you to say. Elena's smile returned, though it seemed forced. How are things with you? You look tired too. Marcus almost opened up about their financial problems but stopped himself. Elena had enough stress without hearing about his troubles. Just the usual single dad stuff. Nothing I can't handle. As Marcus walked home through the city streets, he couldn't stop thinking about the angry man who had yelled at Elena. Good people like her shouldn't have to deal with that kind of abuse. She was saving lives every day and some people treated her like she was worthless. At home, Tyler was waiting with his homework spread across their small kitchen table. Mrs. Garcia helped me with math, but I saved reading for you, Tyler said proudly. This was their ritual. No matter how tired Marcus was, they always did reading together. It was one of the few pleasures left in their difficult life. As Tyler read aloud from his favorite book about superheroes, Marcus listened with pride. His son was smart, kind, and brave, everything Marcus wanted to be but often didn't feel like he was. Daddy, what makes someone a hero? Tyler asked suddenly. Why do you ask? In this book, the hero has superpowers. But you don't have superpowers and Mommy always said you were her hero. Marcus thought carefully. I think heroes are people who help others even when it's hard. Even when they're scared. Like the doctors and nurses at your work? Exactly like them. They help sick people get better. That's pretty heroic. Tyler nodded seriously. I want to be a hero when I grow up. You already are, buddy. You're my hero every day. That night, after Tyler fell asleep, Marcus sat in their dark living room and wondered how long he could keep pretending everything was okay. The eviction notice was hidden in his dresser drawer, and he had exactly 8 days to come up with rent money or they would be homeless. He thought about Elena's kind smile and Tyler's innocent trust that his daddy would always take care of him. Somehow, he had to find a way to be the hero they both believed he was. 3 days later, Marcus was working the night shift at the hospital. It was quieter than usual, with only emergency cases coming in. He was mopping the floor near the main entrance when he heard shouting from the parking garage. Help! Someone help me! Marcus dropped his mop and ran toward the sound. In the dimly lit garage, he saw Elena backing away from a man with wild eyes and a knife in his hand. Give me your purse. Now, the attacker demanded. Please, I don't have much money, Elena said, her voice shaking but steady. I don't care. Give it to me or I'll cut you. Marcus's heart pounded. He should call security, run for help, stay safe for Tyler's sake. But Elena was in danger and there wasn't time. Hey! Marcus shouted, stepping into the open. Leave her alone. The attacker spun around, surprised. He was young, maybe 20, with the desperate look of someone who had nothing left to lose. Back off, old man. This isn't your business. It is now. Marcus moved closer, putting himself between Elena and the knife. You don't want to hurt anyone. Just walk away. I need money. My sister needs medicine and I can't afford it. This is the only way. Marcus understood that desperation. He felt it every day when he looked at Tyler and wondered how to provide for him. But there were lines you didn't cross. Hurting people won't solve your problems. Let me help you find another way. There is no other way. The young man's voice cracked with emotion. Rich people come to this hospital and get perfect treatment while my sister dies because we're poor. For a moment, Marcus saw himself in this desperate young man. How many times had he felt that same hopeless anger? How many nights had he wondered if desperate measures were his only option? I know how you feel, Marcus said softly. I'm poor too. I struggle every day to take care of my son. But this won't help your sister. You don't understand. The attacker raised the knife higher. Nobody cares about people like us. You're wrong. Marcus took another step closer, even though every instinct screamed at him to run. I care. This nurse cares. She helps people like your sister every day. Elena spoke from behind him. What's your sister's name? The young man hesitated. Maria. She's only 16. She has leukemia and we can't afford the treatments. I know Maria, Elena said gently. She comes to our clinic. Dr. Peterson has been trying to get her into a clinical trial that would cover all costs. The knife wavered in the attacker's hand. That's impossible. We've tried everything. It's not impossible. But if you hurt people, you'll go to prison and Maria will have nobody. Let me help you the right way. For a moment, Marcus thought they had gotten through to him. The young man's shoulders sagged, and he looked like he might put the knife down. But then they heard footsteps echoing through the garage. Security guards were coming, drawn by the earlier shouting. Panic flashed across the attacker's face. No. I can't go to jail. Maria needs me. He lunged forward with the knife, aiming for Elena's chest. Marcus didn't think. He didn't calculate the risks or consider Tyler waiting at home. He just moved. The knife that was meant for Elena's heart hit Marcus in the shoulder instead. Pain exploded through his body, but he kept moving, tackling the attacker and sending them both crashing to the concrete floor. Run, Elena. Get help. Marcus gasped as he struggled with the young man. Security guards arrived and quickly subdued the attacker. Elena was safe, but Marcus was bleeding heavily from the knife wound. Marcus. Oh God, Marcus, stay with me. Elena pressed her hands against his shoulder, trying to stop the bleeding. Tyler, Marcus whispered as his vision started to blur. Who's going to take care of Tyler? You are, Elena said firmly. You're going to be fine. We're getting you to surgery right now. As they wheeled Marcus into the operating room, his last coherent thought was about Tyler sleeping safely at home, trusting that his daddy would always come back. Marcus woke up to the steady beeping of machines and the smell of antiseptic. His shoulder was wrapped in bandages and his arm was in a sling. Sunlight streamed through the hospital room window. Daddy. Tyler's voice was the most beautiful sound Marcus had ever heard. His son was sitting in a chair beside the bed, his eyes red from crying but shining with relief. Hey buddy. I'm okay. Mrs. Garcia said you got hurt helping someone. She said you're a hero. Marcus tried to sit up but winced at the pain. I just did what anyone would do. That's exactly what heroes always say, said a familiar voice from the doorway. Elena entered the room carrying flowers and looking much better than she had in the parking garage. Behind her were Mrs. Garcia and a doctor Marcus didn't recognize. How are you feeling? Elena asked. Like I got stabbed. Marcus attempted a weak smile. But alive. How's the kid who attacked us? In custody, but he's getting help. I talked to the district attorney about his sister's situation. We're working on getting her into that clinical trial. The doctor stepped forward. Mr. Thompson, I'm Dr. Sarah Chin, the chief of staff. I wanted to thank you personally for what you did. Elena is one of our finest nurses, and your actions saved her life. Marcus felt uncomfortable with the attention. I just couldn't let her get hurt. She's a good person. Yes, she is. And so are you. Dr. Chin pulled up a chair. Elena told me about your situation. About your wife's medical bills and your current financial difficulties. Marcus's face burned with embarrassment. He didn't want charity, especially not in front of Tyler. Dr. Chin, Elena said gently, maybe this isn't the right time? Actually, it's the perfect time. Dr. Chin smiled. Mr. Thompson, the hospital board met this morning. We want to offer you a new position, head of our patient advocacy program. You would help families navigate insurance, find financial assistance, and connect with resources. The salary is 3 times what you make now with full benefits. Marcus stared at her. I don't understand. I'm just a janitor. You're a man who risked his life for a stranger. You're someone who understands what patients and families go through. Those are exactly the qualifications we need. Tyler was bouncing in his chair with excitement. Daddy, does this mean we don't have to move? I think it means we get to stay right here, Marcus said, his voice thick with emotion. But Dr. Chen wasn't finished. There's more. The story of what you did has spread through the hospital. When people heard about your situation, they wanted to help. Elena opened the room's curtain to reveal the window overlooking the street. Marcus couldn't believe what he saw. Dozens of people in white coats were gathered outside the hospital. Doctors, nurses, medical students, and other staff members stood holding signs that read, "Thank you, Marcus. Heroes help heroes, and Tyler's dad is our hero." They've been coming all morning, Elena explained. Word spread about what you did and about your family's struggles. The medical community takes care of its own. Dr. Chin handed Marcus an envelope. This is from the hospital's emergency fund for employees in crisis. It should cover your outstanding debts and give you a fresh start. Marcus opened the envelope with shaking hands. The check was for more money than he had seen since Lisa's life insurance payout, enough to pay off their debts and create a real safety net for Tyler's future. I can't accept this, Marcus whispered. It's too much. You can and you will, said a new voice from the doorway. A tall man in scrubs entered the room. Marcus recognized him as Dr. Peterson, one of the senior emergency physicians. Mr. Thompson, I've been a doctor for 20 years. I've seen a lot of brave things, but what you did last night was extraordinary. You didn't hesitate to put yourself between danger and someone who needed protection. Dr. Peterson sat on the edge of the bed. Do you know how many people Elena has helped during her time here? How many lives she's touched? By saving her, you saved everyone she'll help in the future. That's not charity, that's an investment in healing. Tyler was listening to every word with wide eyes. Marcus realized that his son was learning what real heroism looked like, not from comic books, but from ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Over the next week, as Marcus recovered, their small hospital room became a meeting place for the medical community. Doctors, nurses, technicians, and administrators stopped by to thank him and share their own stories. Dr. Martinez, a pediatrician, told Marcus how Elena had stayed late to comfort his young cancer patients. Nurse Williams shared how Elena had helped her through her own divorce by covering extra shifts. Physical therapist Johnson explained how Elena had organized a fundraiser for his disabled son. She's the heart of this place, Dr. Martinez said. By protecting her, you protected all of us. Marcus began to understand that his split-second decision in the parking garage had saved more than one person's life. Elena was a connector, someone who made the entire hospital run better through her kindness and dedication. Tyler visited every day after school, doing his homework in the corner while Marcus met with his new colleagues. The boy was amazed by the parade of medical professionals who treated his father like a celebrity. Miss Elena, Tyler asked one afternoon, why does everyone love my daddy so much? Elena knelt down to Tyler's level. Because your daddy showed us what real courage looks like. He didn't think about himself, he only thought about helping someone else. That's the kind of person we all want to be. He's always been like that. He takes care of me even when he's sad or tired or worried. That's what makes him special, Tyler. Heroes aren't people with superpowers. They're people who choose to help others even when it's hard. On Marcus's last day in the hospital, Dr. Chen brought him to his new office. It was small but bright, with a window overlooking the children's playground behind the hospital. This will be your base, she explained. But most of your work will be with families throughout the hospital. You'll help them navigate insurance denials, find financial assistance, and connect with community resources. Marcus looked around the office in wonder. A week ago he was facing homelessness. Now he had a real career helping people who were struggling just like he had been. Dr. Chin, why did you really create this position? She was quiet for a moment. My daughter was in the hospital for 6 months when she was Tyler's age. The medical bills nearly destroyed my family even with good insurance. I know what it's like to feel helpless and scared. What happened? We got through it because people helped us. A social worker who knew every assistance program, a nurse who brought my daughter toys, a janitor who always had a kind word when I was crying in the hallway. She smiled. Heroes come in all forms, Marcus. Now you get to be one for other families. 6 months later, Marcus's new life had transformed everything for his family. Tyler was thriving in school, no longer worried about losing their home or not having enough food. They had moved to a better apartment near Tyler's school, and Marcus was home for dinner every night. But the biggest change was in Marcus himself. The patient advocacy program had grown beyond anyone's expectations. Marcus had helped dozens of families navigate the complex world of medical insurance and financial assistance. He had prevented 3 families from losing their homes due to medical debt and helped 2 children get access to life-saving treatments. Elena had become more than just a colleague, she had become family. She joined Marcus and Tyler for Sunday dinners, helped with homework, and filled some of the empty spaces that Lisa's death had left behind. Are you going to marry Miss Elena? Tyler asked one evening as they did dishes together. Marcus nearly dropped the plate he was washing. Why would you ask that? Because you smile differently when she's around. Like how you used to smile at Mommy. Marcus realized his 8-year-old son saw things that adults sometimes missed. Elena did make him smile in a way he hadn't in years. She brought light back into their lives. Would that be okay with you? Marcus asked carefully. Tyler considered this seriously. I think Mommy would want us to be happy. And Miss Elena makes us both happy. That weekend, Marcus took Tyler to visit Lisa's grave. They brought fresh flowers and sat on the grass beside her headstone. I met someone, Marcus told Lisa's memory. Elena. She's kind and smart and Tyler loves her. I think you would too. Tyler placed a small drawing on the grave, a picture of their family with Elena included. Mommy, Miss Elena takes care of us like you did. And she says you're watching over us from heaven. As they walked back to their car, Tyler slipped his hand into Marcus's. Daddy, do you think heroes get to be happy? I think heroes deserve to be happy just like everyone else. Good. Because you're the biggest hero I know. 1 year after the incident in the parking garage, the hospital held a special ceremony. Marcus was being honored with the Employee of the Year award for his work with the patient advocacy program. The auditorium was packed with medical staff, patients, and families that Marcus had helped. Tyler sat in the front row wearing his best shirt, beaming with pride. Elena was being honored too for her work establishing new protocols for helping patients in financial crisis. Together, they had created a model program that other hospitals were starting to adopt. Marcus Thompson represents the best of what we can be, Dr. Chin said in her speech. He reminds us that heroism isn't about dramatic moments, it's about showing up every day and choosing to help others. When Marcus stepped up to accept his award, he looked out at the audience filled with people whose lives he had touched. Families who still had their homes because he had helped them find assistance. Children who were healthy because he had helped them access treatment. "A year ago, I was a janitor who felt invisible," Marcus began. "I thought my only job was to clean floors and empty trash cans. But Elena Rodriguez showed me that everyone in a hospital matters. Every person has value." He found Elena in the audience and smiled. "When I stepped in front of that knife, I wasn't thinking about being a hero. I was thinking about protecting someone who had shown me kindness. Someone who made me feel like I mattered." Marcus's voice grew stronger. "What I learned is that we all have the power to save lives. Not just doctors and nurses but everyone. A kind word to someone who's scared. Help for someone who's struggling. Standing up when someone needs protection." The audience was completely silent, hanging on his words. The real heroes are the families fighting through medical crises. The single parents working multiple jobs to care for their children. The medical staff who come to work every day knowing they'll face suffering and fear, but choosing to heal anyway. Marcus looked directly at Elena. "And sometimes if you're really lucky, saving someone's life saves your own life too." After the ceremony, as people mingled and celebrated, Marcus found Elena on the hospital's rooftop garden. She was looking out over the city lights, beautiful in her simple blue dress. "Penny for your thoughts," Marcus said, joining her at the railing. "Just thinking about how much has changed. A year ago I was ready to quit nursing. The stress, the difficult patients, the feeling that nothing I did mattered. What changed your mind?" Elena turned to face him. "You did. You showed me that what we do here really matters. That people like you see the difference we make." Marcus reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. "Elena, you saved my life long before I saved yours. You saw me when I felt invisible. You treated me with dignity when I felt worthless." Elena's eyes widened as Marcus dropped to one knee. "You've become Tyler's second mom and my best friend. You've made our family whole again." Marcus opened the box to reveal a simple but beautiful ring. "Will you marry me?" Tears streamed down Elena's face. "Yes. Of course yes." As they kissed under the stars, Tyler appeared from behind a planter where he had been hiding with Mrs. Garcia and half the hospital staff. "She said yes," Tyler shouted, running to hug them both. The rooftop erupted in cheers from the dozens of people who had gathered to witness this moment. Doctors, nurses, patients, and families all celebrated together. Dr. Chin wiped tears from her eyes. "I think this is the best medicine we could prescribe." 2 years later, Marcus stood in the same parking garage where everything had changed. But this time he wasn't alone. Tyler, now 10, and Elena's baby daughter Sophia were with him as they participated in a ceremony to dedicate a new safety lighting system. The young man who had attacked Elena, David Morales, was also there. After serving his sentence, he had become an advocate for healthcare access and worked with Marcus's program to help other families in crisis. His sister Maria was in remission, thanks to the clinical trial Elena had helped her access. "Mr. Thompson," David said quietly, approaching Marcus after the ceremony, "I want you to know that what you did saved more than Elena's life. You saved mine too. By showing me there was another way, you gave me hope." "We all make mistakes when we're desperate," Marcus replied. "What matters is what you do next. I'm studying to be a social worker now. I want to help families like mine before they get desperate enough to do what I did." Marcus smiled. "Elena and I could use help with the advocacy program. We're expanding to 3 more hospitals. I'd be honored to work with you." As the crowd dispersed, Marcus walked through the hospital corridors with his family. These same hallways where he had once felt invisible now felt like home. Tyler ran ahead, greeting nurses and doctors who had become like extended family. Sophia babbled happily in Elena's arms, reaching for the colorful decorations that Tyler had made to brighten the children's ward. "Do you ever regret it?" Elena asked as they passed the spot where Marcus used to mop floors. "Giving up the quiet life?" Marcus considered this. Their lives were busy now. The advocacy program kept growing, Elena was finishing her nurse practitioner degree, and they were raising 2 children while staying involved in the community. I regret all the years I spent feeling invisible, Marcus said. I regret thinking that I didn't matter. But stepping in front of that knife? Never. They stopped at the patient advocacy office, where Marcus's assistant was helping a young father navigate insurance paperwork. Through the window, they could see the children's playground where Tyler often played with young patients. "Daddy," Tyler said, tugging on Marcus's sleeve. "Mrs. Johnson wants to know if you can help her grandson. His family can't afford his asthma medicine." "Tell her I'll be right there," Marcus said. As Tyler ran off to deliver the message, Elena squeezed Marcus's hand. "Ready for another case?" "Always." They walked into the office together, ready to help another family navigate their crisis. Behind them, the hospital hummed with activity, doctors saving lives, nurses providing comfort, and families finding hope in the darkest moments. Marcus Thompson, former janitor and current hero, sat down with Mrs. Johnson and listened to her story. Outside his window, hundreds of medical professionals continued their daily work of healing, many of them inspired by the man who had shown them that heroism comes in all forms. The ripples from that moment of courage in a parking garage continued to spread, touching lives in ways Marcus would never fully know. But he didn't need to know the full impact. It was enough to know that every day he got to help families find hope when they needed it most. And every evening he got to go home to Tyler and Elena and Sophia, a family built on love, courage, and the simple truth that sometimes the most important thing you can do is step between danger and someone who needs protection. Even when you're scared. Even when you have everything to lose. Even when you're just an ordinary person trying to do the right thing. Because that's what heroes do. They show up. They protect the vulnerable. And they prove that love is stronger than fear, every single time. 5 years after that night in the parking garage, Marcus received a letter that made him cry. It was from Maria Morales, David's sister, who was now studying medicine with plans to become an oncologist. She wrote about how Marcus's act of courage had set in motion a chain of events that saved not just Elena's life, but her own life, her brother's future, and the lives of countless families who had been helped by the advocacy program. "Heroes don't wear capes," she wrote. "They wear janitor uniforms and make split-second decisions to protect strangers. They create programs to help people like my family. They show us that ordinary people can do extraordinary things." Marcus shared the letter with Tyler, now 13 and volunteering at the hospital's youth program. Elena, now a nurse practitioner running her own clinic, listened as Tyler read the letter aloud. "That's beautiful," Elena said. "But she's wrong about one thing." "What's that?" Marcus asked. "You're not ordinary. You never were. Ordinary people don't risk their lives for strangers. Ordinary people don't dedicate their lives to helping others." Tyler looked up from the letter. "I think you're both right. Dad is extraordinary because he chooses to be ordinary. He doesn't think he's special, so he just does what needs to be done." Marcus marveled at his son's wisdom. Tyler had grown into a thoughtful, compassionate young man who volunteered his time helping other kids whose parents were facing medical crises. "What do you want to be when you grow up?" Marcus asked. Tyler smiled. "Whatever lets me help the most people. Just like you and Elena." As the sun set over the city, Marcus Thompson looked at his family and felt grateful for every twist and turn that had brought them together. The scared, desperate man who had once counted his last $12 seemed like a different person. But in his heart, Marcus knew he was still the same person who had loved Tyler enough to work 2 jobs, who had seen Elena's kindness and recognized it as something precious worth protecting. Heroes, Marcus had learned, aren't transformed by their moment of courage. They're revealed by it. The capacity for love, sacrifice, and protection had always been there, waiting for the right moment to shine. And sometimes, when you're brave enough to step in front of a knife for a stranger, you discover that saving someone else's life is the same thing as saving your own.